Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here with another Dawson's Rambles little news update. Today was supposed to be an off day for the video because I know that those of you that are subscribed to me are sick of seeing my videos in your timeline. But this news sort of just came out. Like, the news about this graphic novel surfaced, I think, like a day after the little news about Hasbro and the Power Rangers movies. And I wasn't sure if I was going to do a video on it. I ultimately had decided to lump it in with the next sort of larger news update video that I would do. But then today we got like images and stuff, and I kind of wanted to talk about it because I got like a little bit excited to talk about it, and there was some other stuff I wanted to include in the conversation. Sort of some of the talking points I had for a planned, still might happen video about sort of quote-unquote too much Tommy in the Power Rangers comic series. But yeah. So let's get started with the actual news. I always wonder what happens like if someone just clicks on this like, oh, this guy's gonna talk about the news, I've never seen him before, and then it's just me going on making like heavyweights references. I'm feeling skinny Tony. Anyway, on to the news for real this time. So they are doing a Tommy focused graphic novel that takes place in the future. It's honestly kind of like Logan, like, you know, Old Man Logan, Old Man Tommy, but he's not that old. It's like middle-aged Tommy. Like, that's his version of Old Man Logan. And the premise is, I'll put a link to where the description is, or I might put the description up on screen. I don't know, I'm probably lying. But just a rough estimate of it is, because I'm not a professional that would like put it here to read, you know, I'm just going to do this on the fly and make more heavyweights references. Bodie! Basically the premise is sort of retired Tommy is retired with Kat, and he's leaving saving the world to people like his son, J. Jonah Jameson, and his revenge against Spider-Man. No, not that part, but the JJ part's real. And who was working with SPD, but then JJ goes missing. So this is, like, that's the rough premise. Again, it'll be somewhere in the vicinity of my video, probably, but not really. But we got some artwork today, which was kind of one, like, just character art shot of Tommy, and then a really, really cool cover that it's got, like, Tommy. I'll probably put that up on screen. Maybe. Again, I'm the biggest liar. But, you know that show The Biggest Loser? I'm the biggest liar. Also the biggest loser. But not, like, weight-wise, just, like, in life. Anyway, God, I'm so distracted today. I shouldn't have had that coffee before I did this. Anyhow, for the 14th time getting myself on track, maybe 15th, the cover we saw has, like, you know, middle-aged man Tommy and like all of his ranger powers looping back, you know, from Dino Thunder Black to backwards. The only thing that's weird about it is the Green Ranger one looks really smooth, like it's bald, like, oh man, that helmet really aged. And it doesn't have a silver stripe. Hashtag Team Silver Stripe. Anyway, it's a really, really cool cover and really cool idea. You know, I totally get the MMPR and Tommy fatigue in a lot of ways. There's something I want to touch on about that in a minute. But just to talk directly about the story, marketing-wise, you have to understand it makes sense. Because PR is a brand who, you know, it's like a globally recognized brand, but in terms of the fan base that cares about all the series and the core lore, it's really small potatoes. So if you want to sell a comic that's going to do well, their two iconic pillars are MMPR and Tommy. So it totally makes sense that we have two comic series that are based on MMPR, and Tommy is a central figure in the main storylines of the MMPR comic. So just marketing-wise, it makes the most sense. And so I totally get it. Would I love to see a series or a solo series focus on another season or Ranger? Absolutely. But I also totally get, marketing-wise, why it makes sense. If they were to come out with, you know, Time Force and Eric's story, that probably wouldn't sell very well because only the core fans are going to know about it, at least right now. Maybe with the crazy Power Rangers news that's happening lately, I'm not going to rule out anything for the future. And if Hasbro is somehow able to successfully make Power Rangers bigger, and the comic series has been gaining, you know, kind of good critical attention from not just the fandom, you know, I could see in the future it being a possibility that we could get a comic series set in another season or an original property altogether. You never know. But right now, it just makes sense. So this Tommy story is kind of like a slam dunk on all fronts because it's MMPR, it's their most popular character, so you're going to get the casual 90s fan who's, you know, in there to buy the latest issue of whatever comics he's reading or she's reading, and they're going to see, oh, look, Power Rangers. I liked that as a kid. Let's try this out. And they're like, holy crap, this is actually good. And Tommy's a slam dunk for that because he's like the most popular character to casuals and even to a lot of people in the fandom. But what's great about this is it's not only going to sell to those people, but it's including like expanded PR lore. Like, I mean, sure, it just mentioned SPD. I don't think it mentioned anything else. But given the way Shattered Grid's gone and even some of like the annual stories and stuff, Boom's always including all these little details, like these little Easter eggs and stuff, to the larger PR lore and stuff like that. So I'm fully expecting that. Like, the team who have been doing this and Kyle Higgins have been amazing. So I have total faith in them for that. And I think it's a really cool opportunity to sell a comic to everybody, hardcore fans, casual fans. But we're getting this story that's going to sort of show us a possible future version of the PR world and what SPD looks like and who's involved in it. You know, obviously it's kind of going to be a different universe or whatever. It's kind of like the main universe before Tommy got stabbed and did in Shattered Grid. It's like a version of the universe we know, just different, you know. But it's kind of a cool way to see something we probably might not ever see, you know, in the main TV show or something like that. And I think that's the thing I'm looking forward to most. Like, to be honest, setting aside all of the overhype, and there's also been recent overhype and fandom drama about JDF, but to be honest, Tommy's still one of my favorite characters in the PR world. Like I just mentioned on Twitter, it's not just because of nostalgia, but I always found it interesting to have this character that's so entrenched in the Power Rangers world. Like, you know, the MMPR through In Space era is kind of special for the fact that these Rangers served longer than the one and dones. But Tommy was served for so long and then had been shown to have been involved in some capacity in Forever Red and then Dino Thunder. So I always found that compelling to have this character that was a Ranger that even after he hung up his helmet sort of still stayed in the world. It's also fascinating to have this character that was once an evil Ranger become a hero Ranger and then a mentor Ranger. And so I think he's one of the most interesting characters in the overall PRU. And I think the comic is finally able to take advantage of that in a more meaningful way. Which is why, this is why I thought about doing another video of this, but which is why I actually really like his focus in the comic, because it's getting to put focus on things the TV show never really spent the right amount of time on. Like in the TV show, they're like, oh, we freed you, Tommy, let's go get juices and do charity work. But in the comic, it deals with like, oh, the mistrust they might have and Tommy's own guilt and, you know, him getting to see the darkest mirror possible via Draken. And this comic could get us to see, like, digging more into the interesting character beats of him being a veteran Ranger. Like, this show just barely scratched the surface of that, you know, and so I really don't mind them using Tommy so much, because even though I totally agree he's a bit oversaturated, and I think in the long run, we shouldn't solely rely on this stuff, but I think it's a smart move marketing-wise, and I actually like that I'm getting a chance to see a character with so much potential be explored in a more in-depth level, because he really wasn't, especially in the MMPR Zeo days with such fluffy stuff, you never really got to explore that. You kind of got a little bit stuff in Dino Thunder, like you could do a whole analysis, and I think Linkara did, about the psychological stuff of him in fighting Spirit, fighting all those Ranger powers, and so I'm really excited for this. And like I said, I'm excited to see the Tommy character explored further, but I'm also really excited to see what sort of lore from the larger PR world is explored. Like, he mentioned his sons in SPD. Are we just going to see, like, versions of the B-Squad costumes? Or we might probably see outright new suits, because we get new suits in the comic all the time. Will we see any other references to other teams or characters that might be helping? I think that's going to be really cool. It's just, the comic is doing something that I've wanted for so long, all the comics, including this one, which is exploring the crazy connected PR universe that's created. So I think this is like nothing but an exciting idea, to be honest. But I'm going to kind of end this video off here. I don't want it to be too long. I still might do a video later sort of exploring what I was talking about with them being too much Tommy, because I know that's turned people off, and I totally get it in a way, but I also think you're missing out. But yeah. Overall, very exciting news. If I recall, this launches in September 2018, so that's not that far away, you know, that's, you know, just summer, basically a summer away, so I'm really looking forward to this. I hope it does well, so we could potentially see more solo series like this, and again, if we play our cards right, I could totally see us branching out from MMPR in the long run, but for right now, marketing-wise, I totally get why it's a smart move. Anyway, sorry you had to put up with me for yet another video on what was to be an off day, but thanks for watching anyway. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and, you know, ring that bell and all that fancy YouTube stuff people say at the end. Until next time, it's Dawson Ryder, signing out.